televised revolution as we drift through outer space aboard the Absolution. With time back and active duty as captain in charge of bringing superior anime action. Yeah, you came to the right place if you have a taste for
Hello and welcome to Shredded Cels episode 9. I am your host Alex Schmitz, and with me today here is Matt Lunn.
Hi there, folks. If you didn't notice, we changed the beginning of our opening theme to Richie Branson's "Toonami's Back." Can't say the last part for the, E rating of this show, but if you enjoyed his music, you can download that song and Bring Toonami Back, other rap song that he's created on his own website at richiebranson.com. We're very grateful for him to allow us to use this bumper at the beginning and end of our show.
Very nice. And I also have Jeremy Zajac here with us.
Hello.
Toonami's Back.
And Marc Goldsmith.
Hey there, and I'm really surprised that, Matt, you said this was an E-rated show. No, that's a lie.
No,
that's a lie.
I think after the conversations of child abuse,
The language has to stay E-rated.
We're not explicit.
Oh, okay.
I'm explicit. If we were explicit, then we don't want to know what would happen with Marc's beard.
Oh, and you might hear his voice returning after his month-long hiatus. We have Keith Crandell with us.
Greetings, programs. I'm back!
How's it going, Cookie Pants?
Oh, God.
That is your nickname, after all.
Oh, gosh.
I need a new one. I put in my bid for a new nickname.
We'll have to get to that
Opening
later.
bid, $5.
Hey,
Too rich for my blood.
$6.
You know what? We have all summer to work on it.
There you go. So, yes, we are here today, and the first bit of news to talk about is just a little teeny-wincy thing that happened over this weekend. Oh, what was it again? Oh, yeah. Toonami's back!
We're going to kind of obsess over that over this episode. Can you tell?
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, as far as Toonami coming back, I mean, obviously I was talking with some people last night, and they were actually disappointed. It's like, it's not the same. But it's like, dude,
Be quiet.
It's Tom. It's not, okay, yeah, there's Bleach. There's a lot more Adult Swim anime that was originally there, like, Ghost in the Shell running for the umpteenth time and Bebop, but everyone loves Bebop. But the point is, yeah, it's got 2 new shows. I mean, some people are skeptical on them, but when I went on the internet after, like on Sunday night to, see just general feedback, everyone was positive. They're like, yeah, it's not the greatest thing that I've seen, but you know what? This gives them a chance to put new shows in, and, eventually, like, when that Ghost in the Shell and Cowboy Bebop, because they're halfway through their airing right now, they just, started at a random episode. When those are done, hopefully that's the chance for these older shows like Yu Yu Hakusho and just all these other shows to, come back in. So it's a bit of a mix between your old and your new.
I'm not going to lie. I know that they don't have the rights to it, but if they somehow get the rights to Berserk, that would make my day.
Oh, that would be... Berserk would be a perfect thing for that block, but the problem is it's Media Blasters, and they're, like, not... Like, that company is so sketchy right now, whether they exist or not.
Interesting.
Another good one that I'm just thinking of that they could even, if they can get the rights to this, they could just show it for years, would be Fist of the North Star.
Fist of the North Star would be perfect for that block.
Not to mention, it's so manly, it would put hair on the chest of viewers.
All the little preteen boys watching it would be like...
All the little preteen girls watching it.
It's also, I know they're not going to, but, I don't think they are. I haven't seen it, but, like, if they put an uncensored version of One Piece on there,
there is
that would be so good.
The guy who was talking on it, because one reason this has come back, and I mentioned this with Alex like a month ago, is the vice president of Cartoon Network now was the original producer of Toonami back in the day. So the fact that Toonami's come back, I think it has to do with the VP, in that high position now, kind of funneling like, we should do this. But one thing is to note is that this Toonami has a very low budget, and unless it gets the ratings, it's not going to last or stay around. But the point is, I think it has a new opportunity, because one thing that I don't know about you guys, but one reason I got into anime is because I wasn't like Toonami like obsessed, like, oh, Toonami's coming on, but like I watched the original Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the 2D animated one back in the day. Teen Titans, I watched Teen Titans on Toonami, and if anyone remembers this old show, Megas XLR.
Oh my God, yes.
I loved that show.
Yes, if they brought that,
the show is hysterical.
That show was the bomb. I cannot believe it got. How long?
It got 2 seasons, 26 episodes, but it could have had so much more.
That was even those 26 episodes were absolutely hilarious.
I know.
Do you know what else I used to watch in Toonami that I know everyone else here loved? Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack,
of course.
Great show.
So the point is I mean, even though those weren't anime titles, they were, action stuff, but the point is, it didn't matter. And I think that's something that people need to realize with this new block, is it doesn't matter if it's anime or not. It's just action. That's the key. Action stuff. Because quite honestly, if you look at a lot of anime, there's not a lot of action anime. It's mostly, slice of life and all this other boring stuff. So just to call it action shows, that seems like a better title than to specifically say, this is only anime.
Well, right now it is only anime, though.
It is, but I would love to see Megas XLR come back, or even throw Teen Titans. I know that's stupid, but...
No, I'd love to see that come back.
I wouldn't mind it so much if they skip the whole Terra arc.
Yeah.
You're a fan of that?
I'd rather not get into it too much right now, but let's just say I was bored out of my wits every time she came up on the show.
I thought as a character she was okay, but I just thought it was really dumb where she's like, I have friends now. I'm going to betray them all.
But see, they need to put some of these old shows, not just anime, but some of these old shows that they had in their catalog back in the day, and that would make the block a lot more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Keith, what were your overall opinions on the Toonami coming back?
I'm very happy, but I actually didn't watch it. I don't watch TV at all.
See, Heretic!
Is it online?
Heretic!
Yeah.
Get the non-believer. Yeah, it should be on AdultSwim.com, some of the stuff.
That's what I was wondering. Is there a way to watch it online? Because
obviously, no one. Some of the people aren't going to... Like, I'm DVRing it, which is not the way that, TV channels want you to do it, but I've already got it DVR'd for Dead Man Wonderland and Casher and Sin, so...
Yeah. Yeah, for me... honestly, I don't watch much TV either. I watch Korra, and then because I knew Toonami was coming back, and I actually had a film shoot that I thought I was going to have to go to, but it got canceled or something going on, so I was able to stay up until midnight and actually watched a Bleach, the Dead Man Wonderland, and Cash and Sins. So I watched all three of those shows. And I mean, you're right. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever.
But it was
like
good.
Yeah,
the fact that you saw Tom back and he did a video game review.
Yeah.
So
it was of The Last of Us.
It's an Xbox arcade game. So, and he talked about
wait, The Last
Now
of Us.
it's neither the time or the place.
not
Or
for
no,
PS3.
not The Last
you're
of
wrong.
Us.
I Am Alive.
Yeah.
I
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
say The Last of Us. No, I'm Alive was like I
Yeah,
tried
it was
to
I Am
download and I
Alive.
never wanted to hit myself so
Is that
hard.
for
in
the
my life.
PS3 too?
Yeah, it's for the PS3
Yeah.
also. Wait,
Yeah.
Keith, what did you just say?
I said I tried the demo and I never wanted to hurt myself so bad in my life to get that time back.
Well, why? Was it that bad?
It was bad. It was so bland, and then it was like all kinds of funky colors. I don't know. I didn't
I don't
like
think
it
that's
at
the
all.
same game. Is that the same
No,
game?
no,
No.
he's right. I apologize. I screwed up The Last of Us with I Am Alive. But I Am Alive, it was interesting because when it came out, this is a little sidetrack, but it got like scores as low as like 4s and stuff, like lower scores. Then it got scores as high as 8s. So it was very all
It depends
over
on
the
the
place.
player.
Like,
kind of like Journey, because like
It's-
you don't care for Journey.
It's really funny because IGN gave it like a 4.5, but on YouTube it has like 64% dislikes. Like people are really angry that IGN gave it a 4.5. So
Well,
I
Toonami
don't
gave
know.
it, I think, an 8.5
Wow.
or an 8.
I think it was an 8.
Wow.
It was an 8, so it was good. So
Maybe it was less than that, but yeah, it was pretty high.
it was 8 point something.
Anywho, moving on to Korra.
yes, we're not the video game
Yay.
podcast. Go listen to Broken Controllers if you want to hear about video games.
plug. Moving on.
Exactly. Yes, no. Sadly, there was only one episode of Korra since our last podcast because of Memorial Day weekend.
Every episode of
What did
Korra
I
is a new
ever do with
episode of
my
Korra for me
time?
since the last podcast.
Played Portal 2.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, real quick,
Yeah.
Keith, since you haven't actually talked about Korra at all, since you haven't been on the podcast this quarter, what are your overall opinions of the show, the show's first 6 episodes?
It's very shiny.
Very
And by
shy.
that I mean it's very smooth and it's very sleek, and it took the already smooth-looking animations of Avatar: The Last Airbender and like made it better. So I was very happy with that. I like the world. I like the animations. I'm not sold on the combat only because it looks like it was much more impressive in The Last Airbender than it is in Korra so far.
It's interesting that you say that because I've thought the fight scenes we haven't really had one like as intense maybe as some of the ones in the original show, but like the fluidity of them, like the movement and everything is way more I think more complex than the original show because it's 5 years later or whatever.
Yeah, I mean I agree, but it's not. it's not as entertaining to me, only because like the fights aren't as epic as they were in The Last Airbender. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings on the show. I really like it.
I
but-
like the animation's definitely a huge thing. I mean, I don't want to say that I just watch things for the animation, but I've enjoyed Korra. I mean, obviously there's some technology, BioShock-looking objects, but I mean, it's. I mean, if you separate it from the original series, I mean, obviously the two are connected, but I enjoy it more saying this is The Legend of Korra, not Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, if I separate the two, it works, even though they are connected.
I would also have to disagree about like the fights not being as intense because I feel like
Episode 6.
well that also I feel like every single fight is way more intense than like any of like the normal regular combat in the first in the first
Show.
I totally
Show.
agree with you because honestly, the fights feel like they have like everyone actually looks like they're getting hurt during the fights, whereas in The Last Airbender, it was a little more cartoony, it was a little more lighthearted. So maybe it looked more intense, but honestly, you never really felt like anyone was ever in any danger during any of the fights.
This one, you get the more of a sense of that danger, and the fact that the episodes have been ending on like a bit of a sour note for our heroes. It's
each episode has been like sour.
Yeah,
but I like
so
that,
far,
though.
I've liked that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I would argue.
Maybe
Go ahead, Keith.
maybe it's that it is like drawn back a little bit. Like it's not as big as Avatar's fights were, and maybe that's my problem. Like it's drawn back some, and it's smaller, more condensed, and yeah, it is kind of more personal because you see them getting hurt, and you see how like the heroes are not really doing very well. Maybe that's just my problem with it.
See, and I love that. That was one of my bigger problems with Avatar: The Last Airbender is they wandered around for literally they just kind of
Months.
wandered around for months
Most of
and
the
months,
series. And then it's like,
everything always went their way, and that was not everything, but most of the time everything went smoothly for them.
You say that, yet literally every place they go, they come into some sort of fight. Some sort of conflict happens.
And
But they always triumph.
Yes,
No,
that was what really
Yeah.
bothers me is that everything always goes their way.
With the exception of some of the stuff later on the show,
Yeah.
like the end of season 2 is very dark. Like, oh my gosh, our main character just died, basically.
Yeah, now I appreciated that a little bit more. But again, in the earlier episodes, I know they were trying to establish this as a more lighthearted kid show, but it honestly it just felt like it kind of cheapened some of the. It felt like it kind of cheapened. It made what I mean. Anyway, it made the character development just less rich because you always knew at the end of the day, Aang was gonna walk off completely victorious and completely unhurt.
I'm going to defeat the Foul Lord.
Yep, we know you are. Actually, I don't even know why you're wandering around. You could actually go do it right now. He's been sitting on that throne. He hasn't moved 3 feet, bro. He's completely useless.
With the
and
fire
so
burning in the
is
background.
Yep, he hasn't moved 3 inches since this show started.
He's comfy in his seat.
True. Well, you never actually see his face until season
It's the
3.
big comfy couch.
Yeah, and then you find out.
I loved that.
I think
But you
what
never
really-
didn't see it until season 3.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
what
nice
really-
reveal.
I think what really bothered me though about The Last Airbender, I know I've said this before, is why is it that Iroh had to do everything in that show?
Yeah.
Because he was awesome.
Because
No,
he
I
was-
love Iroh. I
he
love
was
him
the
as a
man.
character, but literally everything that happened, pretty much everything that happened in the plot was because of Iroh.
I think it's impossible to dislike Iroh.
Yeah, he was the driving force of the show. It wasn't Aang. It wasn't the Fire Lord.
It was
wasn't
the old grandpa.
Yeah, it was Iroh, and he was probably the most powerful person in the show too. Aang and Avatar State? Nope, Iroh. Smart money's on Iroh.
I wouldn't know about that because
Place your bets, folks.
he
Iroh.
even said he wasn't sure he could defeat his brother.
That was
Well,
crap. I think
that's because he's got some age on Ozai though. Like
Yeah,
he
but-
significantly looks older than
No, he is the
Ozai.
older brother. It's true.
But you know
Yeah.
what? You know what? That you could tell that was crap the second he just deflected a lightning bolt. Yeah. I you know he's full of it. You know he's just saying that to boost Aang's confidence.
Okay, back on to episode 7. It is episode 7, right?
Yes, it's episode 7.
Yeah.
Some things I loved about this episode is what's her name? Please, Chief?
Asami.
First of all, there's one thing Alex brought up. I loved when they were opening the boxes. They could use like the metal bend to make it look like Wolverine, and it's like, open this box.
That actually kind of
yeah.
bothered me. It's like, okay, guys, okay, that's really rude.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's not. No.
But that's what the police do. They
No,
just break
We're in
everything.
China. It's
You're right, but
Chinese.
Jeez.
that's not
Getting
nice.
political on the show today.
That's not nice.
And it's not me this time.
No,
Yay.
but come on. If you're gonna break into a guy's place of business without a search warrant, you know what? At least have the common decency to only use a crowbar to open the boxes, so he doesn't have to go out.
In China, no such thing as search warrant is needed.
I'm pretty sure they had a warrant of some sort.
Yeah, but you're still smashing
Yeah, they were the
boxes.
police. That is a warrant.
That ain't cool.
Yeah.
But the funniest part,
This is not.
How do you
Legend
think
of
people
Zelda.
feel when Link goes to their house and starts breaking pots?
They don't feel anything because they are error.
Yes, exactly. What were you going to say, Mark?
just I found it funny that after I was like, yeah, it's really rude, and then just the whole reversal at the end of the episode is like, I am evil. It's like, okay, come on. I saw that coming.
That actually kind of bothered me. It's not because Korra got it right. It's because of the cliche way they did it. I overheard a little tiny bit of a conversation, but I know
that must be evil.
No, but
Oh, yeah,
no,
that was
but
bad.
and it's funny because yes, it's cliche, but at the same time, it's weird. It's not cliche because in my opinion, it would have been completely cliche if she had misheard him, and then she would have been wrong.
Oh no, I feel like if she had been right still, but they hadn't been able to prove it in that episode, that would have actually
Made
worked
it
a
more
little.
interesting.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
this went on.
but because they proved it in the same episode, it was kind of like,
It-
it's a little rushed.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they did it pretty well because, okay, she overhears it, and you sort of think you're led to believe that, he's evil, but there's still sort of that doubt, and then he has this whole story like, oh, no, I was talking about my competitors, at Cabbage Corp and all
But
this
it
stuff.
sounds fishy the way he says,
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my god. Time out. The fact that they made
Cabbage Corp. Yes, I
My
know.
Cabbage
My
Corp.
So, but one thing I really liked about what's her name? I forget her name.
Asami.
Asami. It's like salami, but was when she
Less
lifted
delicious.
the metal, above her foot and then did the slam so she could.
Okay,
sense.
wait,
I
no,
loved that.
hold on.
That's Bo
No,
Lin.
that's not a
Yeah,
Asami.
you're talking about Lin Beifong.
Lin
Okay,
Beifong.
I thought you were
Wow.
talking about
Wow.
Asami, who's the girl, who's
Oh
the
no, I'm
daughter.
not talking about that.
Okay, well, why don't you establish who you're talking about? I
Well,
didn't.
what do you
hold on,
think I
hold
was
on.
talking about the metal bending in the boxes?
Also, wait, that was probably your fault because all he said was, "What's her name?" and you assumed it was Asami.
I was talking about boxes. Open the boxes.
Well, yeah, but before you said boxes, you said, "Oh, who's the girl
Yeah, it is
in
Lin.
the thing?" And I was like, "Oh, Asami." And then you went and
Blame
talked about
Alex
the
for
boxes.
confusing the audience.
And
Hold on.
and I understood
You're-
then that
you're-
you meant Lin, but you didn't establish that before. And if you said who's the name of the metal bender chick, I would have told you it was Lin.
Okay,
you
hold on,
just said
hold
the
on.
girl.
Yeah, hold on. It's his fault for being vague, and your fault for just listing a girl's name. So yeah, you're both at fault.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue to count right now. It's been 5 episodes, and Bolin is still my favorite character.
Yeah,
Really, more than Tenzin? Because you like Tenzin a lot too.
I love
I love
Tenzin,
Tenzin.
but the problem with Tenzin is he doesn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Yeah.
as much.
No, but you know what? It's clear that Tenzin is the most awesome character in that entire group, though, because did you notice how many of the steam tanks it took to take him down?
Yeah,
Like,
well-
all of them.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because this was the first episode we actually got to see sort of Tenzin in airbending action, which was
And he's awesome.
Yeah.
He was riding on a
Disc.
circle
of air.
of air.
Right.
That was awesome.
Yeah, he
Can
wins.
I get
He
really
wins.
nerdy real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
I wonder if that's the technique he created to get his airbending tattoos.
Oh,
Because in the last Airbender, the monks could only get the airbending tattoos if they created a new airbending technique. So I wonder if that was his.
I
It
didn't
might
know
be.
that.
That's actually that would actually be really cool if it was. Okay, now let's talk about a few of the things I wasn't so happy about with this episode.
well, real quick, I just want to go back to the Cabbage Corp thing just to say that
my Cabbage Corp.
can I just say that I totally called that on the last podcast.
Yes, you win.
I knew it.
Really?
Yes, because they
missed
mentioned
it.
Cabbage Corp on the radio when they were training, and I was like, oh, I know
I
they're
mean-
bringing him
I mean,
back.
but hold on. Yes, you called it, but that was really obvious.
Well, yeah, it was obvious, but I was the one who mentioned it, wasn't
Okay.
I?
Oh,
Yes,
so
you
you're
were.
gonna take brownie points for saying something's gonna happen with.
Is that really what I sound like? Really?
So I get the 20 points.
Only on occasion.
Yeah, but I just because you were talking about how you sort of see Korra as a separate thing from Avatar, and it is like that in many ways. But when they
that
tie
links
it,
it.
when they tie it back, like when they mention Zuko's mom in the first episode, or in this episode with the cabbage thing, like that's just a great reference. That if you're new to Korra, you'll just be like, okay, that's there. But if you're a fan of the original show, you're like, oh, that's an awesome reference.
Bonus extras.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what were your criticisms with the show, Jeremy?
Now, for this
Bioshock.
episode, no, that actually didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that they're going with a steampunk style with the show. That's fine. I kind of felt they were going to go it that way when I saw the first cars in the show. It's like, okay, whatever.
Well, the original show was steampunk too.
I would
Not as much.
No,
It was
No.
it was very light in the first show. Really, only the Fire Nation's boats and their tanks were like that. But for the most part, the show was more firmly rooted in more of a fantasy style.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it was the Fire Nation that was steampunk.
Yes.
The other nations weren't.
A couple of the things that bothered me. This is just a little nitpick. He said that now it's not about the platinum and the pureness thing. That's a gripe for an entirely different day. It has nothing to do with this. What really bothered me though is, all right, now platinum is incredibly rare, and my tanks have to be made out of them. Instead, though, I built a giant wall that probably contains most of the world's platinum to stop you in a trap that will only work once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
What?
See, I think he was expecting that trap to work once and then
he
never have to use it
But
again.
but-
you know what I'm saying?
What really bothered me though is when I saw that, it's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, you could always disassemble the wall, but you probably waste a lot of platinum making the wall in the first place. You wouldn't have to do that if you just built more tanks.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Bolin get around Is it Bolin, the Earthbender?
Yeah, Bolin got around it.
Didn't he? He got around that so easy. He's like, oh, I'm gonna dig a tunnel underneath. Rah, rah,
Yeah.
rah.
Yeah, it's
Dig
true.
a hole.
Why
Dig
did
a
why did
hole.
the metal benders think of that?
Because they're clearly not Bolin and they're nowhere near as awesome as he is.
I guess not.
and also, I assumed here's the thing. Did they? I thought they came out of like a grate. Did they come out of just a hole they dug? Because I assumed the ground was made of platinum also.
They didn't mention that. They didn't mention if the whole room was made out of platinum. My whole head's hurting right now. I don't think it was. I think it was only the wall.
Yeah, I think it was just the wall.
Now this is another small little gripe of mine. Why did lightning pole guy have to go down like a punk?
Well,
more than once.
Well, my thing with that was I only had really two criticisms in this episode, and that was one of them because last episode we talked about, at the end of episode 6, Korra firebends this guy off the roof of the building, and
you see him splat.
Well, no, we don't see what happens to him, but we presume, okay, he fell off this giant building. He's got to be hurt somewhat. But yet he shows up in episode 7, and he's perfectly fine. No
Except
explanation.
He sucks now. Except now he sucks.
Well, he was defeated, like you said, like a punk.
Yeah, he went down like a total punk. You know what? No. Sato, not a problem. Okay, he went down like... He's an old guy. He's a fat old guy, and he's a rich fat old guy. So clearly he's not going to have the combat training of Mr. Beard.
Right. Yeah, and... even if they had just shown like a little 5-second clip of him like stabbing his lightning poles into the side of the building to slow himself down or something, I would have just like some sort of explanation as to why he doesn't like have his legs broken or something.
Is that one of the bad guys you're talking about?
Yeah, the guy, the second
Are you sure it's the exact same
Mustachio guy with the green goggles.
And the lightning poles.
Master Yi.
yeah, he's like the second in command to Amon.
He
And
used to dunk them.
Like I said, I was telling Alex, I wonder if that's just like an animation error where it's just like, oh, we need an evil character in the background. Oh, that guy's evil. Throw him in. Animate him in.
I hope not.
This actually kind of weird though, but I actually felt like the tanks were actually a step in the right direction of war stuff that makes sense.
Wait, now you say tanks. When did we see tanks? We just saw the robots. I thought.
They
Yeah,
called
he's
them
calling
tanks.
it tanks.
That's what they called them. He referred to them as tanks.
Okay, interesting. Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, Jeremy's gonna hate this."
No, I didn't. It didn't bother me in the slightest because you know what? They were fairly reasonable, and the fact that you could tell that they could fit a pilot in them, it's like, okay, I can go with that. That's fine. That's fine. It's not an automaton. Had it been a robot, I might have been a little mad about that.
Also, if you look inside, not only does it require a pilot, but like there's so many levers and
doodads and doohickeys.
Yeah, I'm like, it must be so hard to drive that thing.
I'm sure it is, and it's like, okay, that's fine. It's a steampunk setting,
Pretty
so,
complex.
So it's essentially powered armor, and I can live with that, and it's steam powered probably.
Right.
Steampunk fans going wild.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. And I feel like that was actually a step in a steampunk universe that seems more reliable and more sensible than lightning gloves. Oh my god!
Very nice.
Static shock.
One thing I thought was interesting was obviously we've got this whole, once again, the whole love square thing with our 4 characters. And then at the end of the episode, Korra is sort of like, talking to Mako and was like, oh, you go be with Asami. She needs you right now, because she's obviously hurting and all this stuff.
I still say she's evil.
But okay, we'll get to that.
We talked about that earlier.
That will be
disagree.
impressive. If she is, I will give points for the longest con.
Okay, but the point is, like, when she was doing her whole race car thing, she had the whole evil look in her eye.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
Look, she's trained in martial arts to defend herself. She's going to be aggressive.
Yeah, she's competitive. That was it.
Yeah,
She's not evil.
No, that's competitive.
Competitive is not evil.
No, but if if this whole thing does end up turning out to be her being a double agent, that'll be like, oh my god, that was wow.
As Mermaid Man says, evil.
That would be really sad.
Evil.
That'd be really sad if, like, considering there's going to be, I'm predicting there's going to be a lot of fans for her, like people who really like her as a character.
looks evil.
And
She's
then,
got the black hair and
if she
everything.
just turns, everyone's going to be like, no,
Yeah.
She will.
no.
I'm a believer.
So right now, I know I've already said this, but I'm kind of glad that Mako is with her instead of Korra. It's nothing against Korra at this point. It just feels like if you do that pairing, it's going to be.
How about this? Now I want Bolin to just have a girlfriend, not even Korra, just a girlfriend.
Yeah,
Any?
no, he deserves it.
What else?
If he's this awesome all the time, he deserves something. It'd be more than that ferret.
And I also like how Korra showed some maturity at the end of this episode. She wasn't like, well, her father is this evil guy, so you should be with me, Mako. No, she was like, yeah, she's hurting. You should just be with her and just, forget about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but what's interesting, though, is she says that and he goes over and walks to her, but then she sort of, like, glances back, like, looking sad. So I get the feeling she still has feelings for him.
But of course she does.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. But, now she's not being, like, a complete jerk and just, like, making out with him for, like, out of the blue,
Right,
So
right.
she's showing some signs of maturity.
Like I said, Lynn, good stuff with Lynn.
Lynn is awesome.
But
Like I said, with the foot thing, with the I'm gonna break boxes thing, and
Yes,
then now
Lynn,
at
not Asami.
the very end of the episode, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna break do things that are against the law.
Vigilante.
when she said that, though,
love
I'm not
that.
gonna lie. I started thinking Judge Dredd. I am the law, because the way she said it, she put really. I don't know. She didn't really. She like said the way she said it so long. I just thought of Judge Dredd.
Wow.
Law.
When I saw that, actually, I immediately thought, like, vigilante, like she's just basically
She is
go,
the knight.
She's gonna be Batman. That's exactly what I thought.
Batman of Avatar.
Exactly. But I agree with you. Like, it was awesome when she, hit the metal out of the bottom of her boot and used the Earth sonar thing,
I
like
love
Toph
that.
could do. That was a great
That was
little.
awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
She's going to like Toph's roots a little bit more because Toph wouldn't have played by the rules in the first place.
Right, and
No.
when she creates some sort of like metal blades on her arms, and she goes up and is like stabbing the cockpit of the
That was-
robot.
I was floored when I saw it. I'm like, you could kill someone with that. You could kill someone.
And when she did that, I'm like, thank you. Someone's finally doing it right. Hey guys, we're coated in armor and we have these long metal cables and we can reshape metal with our minds. So what do? Throw ropes at everything.
Yeah, it was good to see.
They're trying to fly kites.
some progression from that.
Let's go fly a
No.
kite.
Yeah, and the other thing that just sort of bothered me, this is the last thing I want to talk about, I guess, but when Asami was, it was sort of a cliche thing where, okay, we're leaving Asami behind, and we're going to go down and investigate, but she's going to show up, and of course she did, right as her father were about to, take the Korra and everyone away, and then they talk, and then Asami goes in and grabs the glove, and it's like, oh no, she's evil, wait, she betrays him, I know I've talked to Mark and Matt about this, and both of you guys actually thought that she might be evil. But
I still think she's evil.
but for,
Okay,
but for,
I thought she was evil,
but for me, like I thought, it's such a cliche thing. I was just predicting, like, okay, come on, she's gonna betray him. Come on, she's gonna shock him. I know it. Come on, let's get to it. You know.
Yeah, I when I saw that, it's like, yeah, we know how this is gonna go. Come on. But, I
Exactly.
mean, they had
Star
to do
Wars
it.
people. They
had to do it. They had to do it, and it's fine. But come on, did you have to make Mustache Guy look like a punk at the same time?
I mean, I guess the reason why it's so obvious though is also like with her character. I mean, it's not just obvious because it's cliche. It's obvious because looking at her character, you're like, yeah, she truly doesn't know that her father's like working for terrorists.
Right.
So if you didn't know
Or
your father was
does
working
she?
for terrorists, and then he turns out to be that way, would you expect her to turn on them? See what I'm saying?
This actually brings up a good question. I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead. And
No. I mean, my last point was just going to be, yeah, it's cliche, but it's cliche because it works for her character. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. It makes sense. What are you gonna say, Jeremy?
Now, I actually just thought of something. You know how the factory, they explain away the factory by making it deep underground, right?
Right.
in the mountains.
How long had he been working on that? Because that's not an overnight project. That's to
That's a
do
long
that, and to do
time.
that in secrecy too.
Well, I certainly believe that the Equalists have probably been in existence for years. They're just sort of emerging now. Like I expect when we get the flashback episode that explains what's going on with Aang and this Yakone guy, I have a
And wasn't
feeling
that
like
30 years ago?
I think it was. I want to say it was like
I miss
42 or something or like that. But whatever was going on there, I have a feeling that was like the foundation or something to do with the Equalists will come from that. So they've been in development over all these years.
I miss Aang too.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Seeing all these new characters and seeing this new world, does anybody miss the old cast? Like, I really miss Aang, and I didn't even really like Aang in the first series, but like I just, as I'm seeing more of this world and like how different it is, I'm like, what the hell happened in the transition? I really want to know.
I miss Boomerang and Cabbage Guy, but we've got Cabbage Guy, my Cabbage Corporation. So I'm satisfied with Cabbage Guy.
I miss Sokka and Toph. I really like Toph as a character.
Yep.
But
I'm going to say this right now, and I know I'm going to catch some flack either from you guys or from the internet, but I don't miss Katara.
I don't miss her that much either.
She's still alive.
She's still alive, but I'm glad she's not there.
I mean, here's the thing. She was a good character. She had some development. I didn't love her. She wasn't like a really super interesting character. There wasn't a lot going on there. She was just, mainly
well, she was more of a sort of goody two shoes character.
I gotta make sure everything's right.
That's not totally true. Earlier on, she was
actually, you're right.
Early on, she was a fairly deep and interesting character. But as the series went on, especially near the end, she became annoying.
Actually, although I say that, but yet in season 3 we see some darker aspects of her character.
Yeah,
she
was pretty dark.
She threatens
Holy crap,
Zuko's
she's
life.
Like crazy on that one dude.
Exactly.
So, as I think about it, she's more interesting than at first I just thought of. But she was this is gonna sound weird. All of the characters are my favorite, but she was my least favorite of my favorites.
Momo tops her.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't like Momo.
I love Pabu.
What?
No, I said Momo.
I know, I love Pabu.
I like Pabu because so far he's proven to be useful.
What Momo was useful.
Yeah, but the problem is any point where Momo was useful, 5 seconds later he was just so obnoxious. And I think what really bothered me about Momo, you could write him out of the script, and you could do it. And they could. He's
terrible.
Wow.
He could be completely written out of the
You're
script.
gonna get some bad fan mail.
But I mean, yeah, Momo's like cute and all, but like you're right. He had almost like no use in the plot,
Yeah,
whereas
useless.
Pablo actually did something.
He did. Yeah, he
Well,
did.
there's the episode, the Blue Demon from, and Aang, or Sokka and Katara are sick, and Aang's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go help you," and then the whole time Katara's like, "Momo, get water," and he comes back with like a crown. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I like Momo. He wasn't useful to the plot, but he didn't have to be. He's an animal sidekick thing. Although, fun fact, voice actor D. Bradley Baker actually did both the voices for both Momo and Appa in the original show.
I liked Appa.
Candy's back for doing the animals for this one.
Is he really? That's awesome.
I loved Appa.
I mean,
Okay.
Zuko.
Speaking of the animals, they've officially scored the most terrifying monstrosity in the Avatar show in episode 7. That unnamed bird creature right from the beginning.
I'm trying to. Which one is that? I'm trying to remember what it was.
Right.
Oh, that thing, the one that was like a giant turkey-looking thing.
Oh, I
with the
remember that.
with the front arms and the legs.
Yeah, that was scary.
I almost
It was
crapped myself.
gray.
in
It was
fear.
gray looking. It was gray color. I remember that now.
What are you?
Oh, nice. And one thing, real quick, we got to get into that segment, but I just thought of this because this is important. At the beginning of the segment, instead of having our little recap thing, we get Tarlok basically grabbing for power, basically talking about how Lynn failed, with the whole Equalists destroying the pro-bending arena thing. So do you think now that Lynn is basically leaving the police force, is Tarlok going to take control and, create his own sort of strike team squad to go fight, the Equalists or something?
The way I see it, Korra is going to stop working with either... obviously, she's not going to work with the Equalists, but she's also not working with the police force. She's going to be she's going to form her own team, and just keep to herself and do things her way. Because I don't see her wanting to work with Tarlok anymore.
Yeah, I think she's done with him.
I think I think pretty much everyone's done with Tarlok at this point. It's great that they have a true politician character in the show. He's an honest to God politician. But it doesn't work as well in the show because again it's more of an action oriented show and the political aspects are interesting, but from a completely action standpoint it's not necessary.
I'm glad they have it just because it makes it seem makes the show seem more adult.
It makes the world deeper and richer.
Yeah,
but it is really you can tell what he's gonna do 5 minutes before.
Well,
he's really predictable.
We say that, but yet we've had all these theories about what is Tarlok's plan. We think maybe he's Amon, maybe he's someone working with Amon, maybe he's not involved with Amon at all.
I think Amon is a character we've seen already.
I can almost guarantee he is.
Interesting. Yeah,
but they've done a good job of masking it now. It's I
just thought of something. What if it ends up being Bolin? No, I know that's completely silly, but what if it was?
No, but
that's a totally silly. That's a totally silly one.
He stood right in front of Bolin.
No, I know that. I am completely aware of that.
Yeah,
what if he's more than one person?
Oh my goodness! Here we go.
I understand.
I think it's a bender.
I understand that you're partly joking, but man, if it was Bolin, I would cry.
Would he still be your favorite character?
Yes.
It's like the tragic fall of Bolin.
So it would be like a Hannibal Lecter sort of thing.
Interesting.
You're not supposed to like him, but you do. It's too late.
Yeah, Keith, maybe you can talk real quick about what you think about Amon, because on previous podcasts we've come up with this theory that maybe it's Tarlok because of the fact that Tarlok never came with the ships to save Korra in episode 4 when he said he was going to, so that sort of led us to believe maybe he is Amon. What do you think about that sort of stuff?
I don't think his build is the same.
Yeah, but
I know that's easily masked by art style, whatever, but no, I don't think it's him. I think it's a character we have seen already.
Interesting. And you think it's a
very
bender?
behind the scenes character. I don't know.
You think it's a bender?
I do.
I saw that too. It would
I was
make
wondering
sense.
what kind of bender it would be, and I'm thinking maybe it's a firebender, maybe related to Zuko, who's kind of mad about the whole Republic City thing.
If you think about it,
Zuko's still alive, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. Also, if you think about it, the brain is all neurons and all that, neurons and electricity and that kind of thing. So maybe, this is just a far-fetched thing, but maybe if a firebender learned to use electricity to alter the brain or something, that could somehow take away bending. I'm not sure, but it's just a theory.
So far, bending hasn't really been proven to be a mental.
I'm thinking it's more with the soul. But hey,
it's
you
more
never know. You never know.
What I'm going to be, I know that's not going to happen, but at the end of the Avatar series, what happens though? At the end of Korra, what happens though if Amon ultimately succeeds and everyone loses their bending?
Well,
I hope not, but that would be really interesting.
It'd actually be then I don't know, maybe Korra just defeats him, and then she passes away too, thus ending the Avatar cycle, but bringing balance to the world.
I don't know. Personally,
that would be
terrible. That would be awful.
It is a good ending.
It is.
But there's an explanation for this, because I was talking to one of my other friends who's a fan of Korra, and she made a good point that we see Aang do his energy bending at the end of season 3, and he's able to take away the Fire Lord's bending. But it makes sense if energy bending is all about bending, the energy inside of people, and basically taking away their bending. It makes sense. It makes sense that someone who can take away bending can also bring it back. So if Korra goes into the spirit world and talks to Aang and learns energy bending from him, then theoretically she could go to the the one pro bender guy who's all depressed in the hospital because he can't get his bending healed, and she'll go to him and like heal him, and he'll have his bending back, and then everything will be wonderful.
In theory.
And then maybe he'll join the team and won't be such a jerk.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think he's too
emo.
Yeah, he's too tarnished as it is.
No,
as a
but
character.
The funny thing is that I almost think he could be an interesting character
no.
if he had a turnabout. You know,
He would be an interesting character, but the problem is most fans wouldn't see it that way, and they'd just be too annoyed with his mere existence at this point.
Okay,
because he's been such a douche nozzle.
Pretty much.
So
Can we say that?
yeah, I think we can.
Oh, so he's allowed to swear, but I'm not.
Hey, it's not that bad.
I am staying out of explicit.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about Korra a lot. Let's move on.
Let's do sword
Tron,
for
Tron segment.
Well, yes. First, we have to transition into our special segment about the show Tron Uprising. So stay tuned for our Shredded Cels special segment. Hello, and welcome to a Shredded Cels special segment about Tron Uprising. We are here today with our special guest, Eric Miller, the co-producer of Tech Heads.
How's it going, everyone?
All right, so Eric, usually when we introduce ourselves on the podcast, we talk about like our backgrounds and how we got into anime. I know you're not big into anime yourself, but how did you get into animation?
Well, I guess if you want to count anime, the only ones I was kind of really into when I was a younger kid was Dragon Ball Z. And Zoids. I mean, Zoids. I will still go watch that show anytime, any day. That show is kind of amazing. It's kind of one of the best things of all time. Who doesn't love giant mechanical fighting robots as animals? I mean, yes, there's Gundams in space, but this is animal fighting robots. Animals. I mean, come on. Anyone else watch that?
No, I wasn't part of that product.
I think I did. I think I watched it. I think that's what I watched the other day, and it was absolutely appalling to look back at like
The 3D.
15 years later.
I still love that show.
Didn't that use like a lot of 3D and it was like...
It was some like CG stuff,
Yeah.
I love cell shading. But in all honesty, I am pretty much on the opposite end of anime. I am a nerd, but that's one of the few places of nerddom that I really don't touch. And it's not because I think they're stupid. It's just kind of because, I don't know, just not my thing. But what we're here to talk about today is definitely my thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you're quite a Tron fan in general, right?
Yes. I have...
Eric and I are huge Tron fans.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
I have seen the original movie multiple times. I have read the books. I have played Tron 2.0, the PC game, which is now technically not canon anymore after the new movie. But I have pretty much experienced every piece of Tron media, including an original like Tron arcade cabinet playing Light Cycles.
Nice.
Man.
Okay, slight amendment. Eric is a huge Tron fan.
Yep, I am that awesome.
Very nice. So
Just
yes,
like Narwhals.
we're going to be talking about Tron Uprising, which is a show that you can watch the first episode of it on YouTube. I believe
For free.
It's going to be on Disney XD, correct?
Yes. It's gonna be on
June
Disney
7th
XD.
or something like that?
I believe that is the premiere date. Would you like me to give a little bit of background on it?
Oh, sure.
So
You are the Tron expert here.
So, for those of you who don't know, the original movie takes place in the 80s. Stars Jeff Bridges as Kevin Flynn, gets sucked into the computer and all that stuff. So, at some point after the original movie, Kevin Flynn creates Clue. And this is all given away in the prologue, so I'm not spoiling anything. Kevin Flynn creates Clue, basically a digitized version of himself to help run the digital world whenever Kevin Flynn can't be there and to, quote, maintain the perfect system. At some point, Clue goes haywire, and he realizes that to maintain the perfect system, he must be a dictator. He must be a dictator and have everyone act a certain way because he sees free will as an imperfect system. Mm-hmm. So, for those of you that have watched the most recent movie, would have seen this because it takes place, 20, 25 years after the original movie. Yep. And also, it takes place after Tron Evolution, the video game, which came out in tandem with the movie, because the video game was not a movie game. It was actually set in between the two movies to help flesh out the universe. So this takes place presumably after the video game, I believe, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Interesting.
Which the video game has you in the shoes of Anon, an anonymous program, basically set to save, for those of you who've seen Tron Legacy, Korra. Am I correct with that name, Korra? The program? Yeah. So you're tasked to, not Legend of Korra, different
Yeah,
different
that's
thing.
immediately what I thought.
Quorra, who is an ISO, and that's getting into a whole bunch of like Tron lore and stuff. But basically, you play the program who saves her originally.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm going to spoil. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil this, and not the episode, but the movie. Whoa, Keith, you're getting a little bit too windy there.
I know.
Yes.
No, I mean this fills in really nicely, but it also raises some more questions after watching this first episode. And I'm sure we'll get to that discussion later, which I'm sure you probably have some of the same things I do.
A little bit. Like, I'm not a
This
huge.
show takes place in 87. Technically speaking, the show takes place in or after 87,
Yeah, it takes.
based on the timeline that was already established.
Because I personally am not a huge Tron fan. I'm drawn to it. The world and everything. It seems so cool. But I feels like the endings for both films weren't necessarily my thing. I mean, I guess what I would love is I would love to see. I don't know if they would do. I actually would like to ask you guys: what is the chance of Master Control coming back in some
I think
way,
it's
shape,
very
or form?
likely. It's very likely because
then I totally
no,
dig this.
if you got the Tron Legacy Blu-ray,
Which I did.
kind of spoilers. There is this whole kind of
Spoilers!
there's this kind of viral video that's on there, which his son starts this movement. Flynn is alive, and apparently there's a lot of flashes of like documents and computer screens, and there's references multiple times into what's his name, Keith, not the son of the bad guy who was in the first movie. I can't remember the last name.
Dillinger.
It's something like Behringer. I don't know, like something.
Dillinger.
What?
Dillinger.
Yes. There's multiple references.
Dillinger.
Billinger or Dillinger?
Dillinger. Yes, there's multiple references to him and his son, and some code files that have like the name MCP in them. So I think it's highly likely that the next Tron sequel will see some sort of return to Master
Do
Control.
you think there will be a sequel?
I know someone that worked on the movie, and it's been greenlit.
Okay, so Disney.
There's no timetable or when, but Disney's pretty much greenlit it.
And I think if this television series is a hit, obviously you're going to get more of a Tron franchise.
I feel like this is a huge franchise that Disney's missing out on. I really
Well,
feel
it's
like
it's like in my opinion, I mean, this is a bit of a stretch, but it's almost like the old Mega Man. It's like I don't know. I mean,
I just feel like Disney doesn't have something edgy and modern and techy and computerized, and I feel like this could be their thing. But let's get back to, now that we've kind of set up the universe of Tron. So Tron Uprising, it stars another computer program named Beck, who lives on the edge of the grid, working in a garage. And the beginning of the series opens up with what's his name? I want to say Admiral Hackett, but that's the guy, the voice actor who did it. Clue's army is coming in and basically taking over his town. So
yeah, I love the person who does that voice. Who's the voice actor who does that?
I don't know his name, but he's the guy who did Admiral Hackett in Mass Effect.
Okay.
But the voice of the grid is Edie from Mass Effect, the computer AI. And I just think first off, I know you didn't like the voice acting.
Well, it wasn't the voice acting, like as far as their voices.
Not the main characters.
It was the delivery. I had a problem with some of the delivery because, especially when they came in, like you had the garage junkies. It's like, what is that? That doesn't look. And then the other guy went like good, and it was really cliche. Ugh.
Okay.
That was the problem I had. There were a few lines in the beginning that were very.
But the point is, as was seen in the video game beforehand, and spoilers, I mean, this was revealed in the movie, that Clue presumably killed Tron at one point. So this takes place after that. So when Beck kind of sees Clue's army is coming in to, take over their village, Beck decides to masquerade as Tron and fight back, which is why it's called
the hope.
Tron.
Like a hope that.
Yeah, basically,
right.
like to kind of start a revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now this was something that sort of bothered me because this will contain spoilers for Tron Legacy, the movie. But in the movie, it's sort of explained. Yes, spoilers. It's sort of explained that Clue somehow sort of brainwashed him into serving him. And then there's something sort of unclear that happens at the end where Tron becomes good again and like sacrifices himself, to beat the bad guys.
Yes.
Now, but then in this, which takes place between the original movie and the Tron Legacy, yet it seems like
He's not brainwashed.
right. He seems like he's thinking for himself.
So
I
obviously-
believe that's probably something that will happen later in the timeline. I think that will probably happen in episode 10 because as of right now, this isn't a regular television show. It's a 10-part miniseries they're doing.
Oh, it is a 10.
That's
really?
apparently what it is, according
Oh, I
to
didn't-
what I've read up on. It's
Because
not
this
gonna be a
first
regular
episode
show.
was like 31 minutes, and I'm like, that's not a normal standard,
No.
20,
No, I think they're gonna
25-minute
have.
TV
I
show.
think they're gonna, take reaction of fans, cut down, for whatever the broadcast actual length is. I mean, that's still cutting like 10 minutes of content. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put it like in a 45-minute time slot. Since Disney does what they want, they'll run 45-minute.
Oh
shows.
yeah, they're if it was Cartoon Network or just any other sensible TV
Yeah.
channel, they would not do it. But like you said, Disney, they do whatever they want to do.
I mean, so I would have a feeling that just my guess is that something happens in episode 10 and
how long?
Tron-
So yeah, it is 10 episodes. You
yes,
said.
that would be my guess. I would not. I think if it goes successful, it would
They'll
be
probably make a TV
They would be
series.
stupid if they didn't turn it into a TV series. I honestly think because it's something so different for Disney on their TV network. It would draw in people like me.
The only show I watch, as far as that's on Disney nowadays, occasionally is Phineas and Ferb.
I don't watch Disney. This is the first time I've watched Disney Network and
Long
probably
time.
no. I'm
Ever since DuckTales.
yes since DuckTales. I'm not even
DuckTales.
joking. I never
my.
watched any single Disney show growing up. I was a Nickelodeon kid.
Yep.
So this is the first time I've watched Disney since
Race
DuckTales.
cars, lasers, airplanes. Sorry, I love that theme song.
Woo! All right, Keith, what were your overall opinions of this? Since you're also a Tron fan. Oh, we can hear your wind there, Keith.
Yeah, there's a lot of wind here down at the airport, Alex.
Okay, that's better. What you're
Keith,
doing?
tell us the weather report out there.
There's a hurricane. I like it so far. I don't remember any of the characters' names other than Beck. I love Bruce Boxleitner.
Bruce Boxleitner.
Bruce Boxleitner.
I liked
love
his
that
power
guy.
with his
Loved
hands. You know how it was basically like the discs, or like not the discs.
No,
but it was
you're
like
thinking of the wrong person. Bruce Boxleitner
Oh.
is
Okay.
the actor who plays Tron.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm liking the action, how they're adding all this stuff, but I'm still not sold on the art style, only because I don't like blocky things.
Yeah, if I had to give one gripe as well, I love the art style.
But the
I
animations,
would
Yeah.
actually say I like the animation a lot. I think it's very fluid and very well done. I don't like the proportions of the characters. That's the one thing that bugs
proportions,
me.
but there was one time where he was like walking up over a hill or something after he had crash landed.
Yeah.
And his walking was really weird. Like it didn't seem like
But
a
the fight
natural-
scenes are awesome. You don't see anything that well animated
No.
on television for a fight scene.
Oh,
you
no.
just don't.
Cora is
Great.
just as
We'll
good.
get
I
On
would
Disney
argue.
Network.
On
Disney, but
yes.
like I guess the point is what they're trying to do with this show is it's in a sense it's in competition with like I don't watch it, but like the Star Wars, the Clone Wars. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
it's
sure.
got more of that edgier, 3D.
Yeah. With me going into it, I'm not the biggest Tron fan, and I usually prefer 2D animation over 3D. So I was a little doubtful going into this, but it actually surprised me with I thought the action scenes were great, The one thing that did bother me is like the 3D animation works great, like when they're wearing their masks and things.
But
When
their
you-
faces.
Yeah, when you actually see their faces, like you look at their faces, it's like I know that's not a human person. Those eyes don't look like
It's a
they
hybrid
have.
of 2D, 3D. The 3D stuff is only during the fights. I hope you realize, like, all the talking scenes, that's all 2D. It's all 2D cell shading.
It did a very good job of
Blending it,
blending it.
it's-
It
yeah.
looks very smooth because when I was talking with Alex, it's like I'm pretty certain because the only part that I could really tell that was 2D was the very beginning when you see Flynn's shop at the very very beginning. And it's like, oh, that's 2D, but then wait a minute, it's 3D. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like certain scenes. Like, I just have something pulled up right here. Like, that's 2D, I believe. I believe that's 2D, but then, like, whenever they start doing, like, pan shots around them and stuff, I believe some of that's 3D. I could
that's
be wrong.
3D there. Like that's I don't know. I think
don't know.
it's
See,
I think
it's
it's
a
a
weird
hybrid,
blend.
but
Yeah.
they do a very good job of blending it, and that's something I had to compliment. The artistic direction of this series got really high funding, or just they did it well.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, you just, like, look at the light cycle chase scene and just, like...
I know.
the art direction is phenomenal. The color scheme, like, they nailed the world. And I thought it was going to be really hard to transition from a live-action CG world down to, an animated series. But I think they nailed it.
nailed it.
As a Tron fan, seeing all the different things, if you exclude Tron 2.0, which is not canon anymore, if you just include the video game, the Tron Evolution, the original Tron and Tron Legacy, it nails the world really well.
I was actually impressed with the whole train thing. Seeing the circles on the side of the train and actually it moving, and then the whole fact that the train flips from upside down to up. I loved that, and that is a great picture on that Vita, by the way.
Yeah, we're just reviewing footage on our Vita right now, on my Vita as we're talking right now. I think this is just very phenomenally animated. Like the whole fight scenes are just awesome.
So I'm definitely looking forward to watching this. I mean, Alex brought up a few cliches, the evil guy at the end is like, you saved me, so I'm going to help you now. But
yeah, I will not deny it. The plot is not revolutionary, but someone as a Tron fan,
it's good. It's decent.
It develops the universe, but it doesn't hurt the universe.
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt it or take away from the overall universe, in my opinion.
It does do one thing that I hate just in like first episodes of TV series in general, when they try to make you attached to this character that you've just met, and then they kill him off, like when they kill off his best friend or whatever, and then when they kill off the guy who just was evil and then turned good, and then he gets killed. Like, I don't have any emotional attachment. Why should I care that these characters died?
No,
I'm curious to see.
His friend was kind of jerk.
Yeah, and his
I don't like any of the characters yet, other than Tron, and I guess back technically.
Yeah, I would agree. His friends were kind of weird.
I think I find this sounds really weird, but with this universe and something that they've done, I think especially better than the first one. I think they really do a great job distinguishing the male and females without over sexualizing the females.
I thought the one chick with how she was fighting, I thought there was some sex appeal there.
I think there was, but it wasn't overtly like, oh, there's a bare midriff and everything.
Yeah, I know,
like that.
but comparing the first film and how they did that one it wasn't like it was that romantic scene.
Yeah,
I liked how this stylized more of the difference between the two a lot more than that first film.
Yeah, I mean, I think it nails the gender differences a lot better.
Awesome.
And I think even though I think you're right, it sexualizes the females in a way, but not horrible.
Not horrible, but it does bring like this is the male, this is the female, and I do enjoy that. I mean, it's like
I actually really like. I don't know who it was because I've never heard of her before, but I really like the actress who played the female villain, if you want to call her.
Now, I wanted to talk about the music. Is it Daft Punk who did that? I don't think they did, but like it sounds very close to the
Oh yeah, I
theme
think
song.
they just like were very heavily inspired by the. I mean, you have the laptop. Why don't you go ahead and pull it up? I mean,
yeah, I'll look that up.
I think some of the main themes and stuff is reused from Daft Punk, but I think there's definitely some original composition in here, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and I think that's one thing that this is so much higher quality music than I hear in any other TV show. I haven't watched any other animated. I haven't watched any other animated show and just been like, "Wow, that music was fantastic."
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Keith?
The music's my favorite part so far.
Yeah, the music.
Although I do really like Shia LaBeouf. Or is it Shia LaBeouf?
No, it's Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. I don't know why I thought of Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, God, I would not want him to be doing this.
I actually really like Shia LaBeau's voice in this. Like
Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood.
Did I just say Shia LaBeouf?
Yes, you did.
Keith is very confused.
I really love Frodo's voice in this movie. Okay, I'm done.
You can't tell it's Frodo though, which I think it was awesome.
Wait, now who did he voice?
Beck.
Oh, so he was back.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up
exactly,
on that.
but like.
No, I thought it was great. Like I like the voice acting.
I agree.
But everything else I'm a little iffy on.
I agree. The delivery is a little bit weird. I am. If I had to give it something, it doesn't do. If my knocks are, it doesn't do anything revolutionary or really like out there. It was just like, whoa.
What about the pacing though? I felt the pacing was a little off.
I personally, I love this style of like the whole disorientation, like how it keeps flashing forward and backwards. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I did. I have to agree with Alex. That's actually an interesting concept that they did to put it in. It's not just a very linear story. It's very non-linear, which I did enjoy.
Which I think is just a first episode thing. I don't believe that every episode's going to be like this.
Yeah, I think they just did the non-linear thing in the beginning to make it interesting, and it works to an extent. But at the same time, like. I really hate it when it goes into let me monologue a little bit about my past, in the flashback mode sort of thing. Like it's just it's a crutch of storytelling.
It's a crutch of storytelling, but I think it did it much better than other things rather than start slowly zooming in on Beck's face as he talks. Like in the Tron universe, every memory, every thought of a program is stored on their identity disk. So actually having spoilers Tron / the bad guy examine Beck's identity disk to see what happened. That's a very valid way within the universe to do that. And I think
Could anybody?
What was that, Keith?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay, Keith. What were you gonna say?
Did anybody? Is this whole thing spoilers?
Yeah, yes,
we've
can
been
spoil
spoiling
it.
everything.
Well, then okay. Did anybody else realize that was Tron right away? Like, I can pick out voice actors out of like anything, especially one as distinguished as Bruce Boxleitner's, whatever. So I picked him out right away. Did anybody else?
I kind of suspected it.
I suspected it right
Yeah,
away.
because I knew sort of the setup, and I remember from the Legacy movie, didn't Tron, when he was in his black form, he had like a.
It's actually
a
talking
weird,
about
deep
18
voice.
episodes instead of 10.
Really? Is it 18?
Interesting.
says-
They're looking at the Wikipedia page right now.
Yeah, so it's wiki. I'm pulling up the link that it.
Does it say 18 now?
Yep, 18.
Full of all
Whenever I
kinds
first,
of
whenever I
great
first saw
knowledge.
it, it was 10. So they must have picked
Yeah,
it
it
up.
said,
in
it said originally it was 10, but now it's been bumped up to
Awesome.
18.
Well, there we go.
Good news for Eric.
Good news. All right.
But again, like I said, I will not stand up and make the case that this is the best animated show on television. It's not the best animation. It's not the best storytelling. But as far as a tie-in to an existing franchise, I think Disney nailed it for existing Tron fans. Like, Tron Legacy, for fans that were really hardcore fans of the first movie, Tron Legacy was a little bit of a letdown in a way.
Yeah, like I thought the beginning of the film started really strong because then it's like the grid, a digital frontier,
Yeah.
and I loved the beginning because then it's like because he had it started off with the motorcycle and then it goes up to this you see the city and it starts.
Yeah.
I loved that.
yeah. Yeah, my overall.
Maybe it's just.
Yeah, Keith,
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
it's fine. You're not in the room with us, so it's hard for you.
I know it's really, really hard still. My favorite. See, I'm the opposite of that. Like I really liked the old Tron, but like I've only seen it once, and the new Tron got me instantly by being so clean cut and high tech.
Yeah, for sure. My overall opinions are basically like if you just want to watch a cool show that's got a cool action story, not much depth of character or
At least
story.
yet, at least yet.
As of yet, yes. So if you just want to watch something with cool animation and action, or if you're a Tron fan, because if you're a Tron fan, you're gonna love this.
Yes, period.
Like you and Keith both said.
And then,
Matt, what's
like
your
I said, my
opinions?
experience with the Tron franchise, I've always been in awe of it, but then in the end, like I'm a little disappointed. So I'm hoping this kind of makes that feel a little better. But on the side of the music, the person who composed and arranged and produced the music for Daft Punk is the one responsible for this TV show. So
Okay,
it's not
so-
Daft Punk performing, but
It's
same
still-
composer.
Okay. And again, I said it's not the best animated show on television, but I do think it is one of the better ones out there. It's something very different. You don't see many animated shows in this style, in this high-tech modern universe, and I think it's really unique on television.
You
I
are
think-
right, though, Eric, because it is a 2D and CGI hybrid.
Yeah, it's a hybrid. I really think that everyone should give it a chance. You either love it or it's not one of those you'll love it or hate it, but give it a chance. It is. There's nothing else on TV like this right now, and I give it a 2 thumbs up. Like,
Right.
yes, watch it.
Keith, what are your opinions?
Give me like 3 seconds, vamp real quick.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
But no,
but-
what I'm probably going to do is I'll probably DVR it. I know that's not what Disney wants me to do. They probably want me to watch it, when it premieres. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a series because, like, our summer's, about 10 weeks. So if they do one every week, perfect summer. I know what I'm
No,
doing.
Yeah, and I think it is something that'll be interesting. And I think if this does well enough, I think we're really going to see Disney embrace the Tron franchise more. I think
I hope
there is
so.
going to be a sequel. I think it's already been greenlit. Maybe it got greenlit and then got put back on hold. Who knows? But I think between the reactions of this and the reaction of the next movie sequel will determine whether it becomes a Disney staple or not. So I can see this fitting right in with Disney's theme parks, with them trying to modernize and some new things. Imagine like if they had like a light cycle VR ride at Disney World, or like a grid battle type thing, like at Innovation Center thing. I don't know. I think I really want to see Disney try and branch out and do some more modern things. Not to give up on all its classic animation at all, but I really think Disney's had the same franchises for so long, and I feel like since about Lilo and Stitch have they had a franchise like with this much potential staying power. Maybe Tangled, but then again that's just a retread of Rapunzel.
Yep.
Like as far as like an original story, I think
Lilo and Stitch, that was a very successful series. Like it got its own TV show over
Yeah.
here, and actually, believe it or not, it got a 52 episode series in Japan. Like there is a Lilo and Stitch TV show for Japan that they specifically made. So
yeah, like I said, I really hope that Disney embraces this, but I give it a
Right.
huge recommendation.
Keith, what were you going to say? about the
What
show?
was the question?
Just what are your opinions about the show overall?
Are you gonna watch it? Are you gonna further pursue it?
Oh, I'm gonna. Well, whether I like it or not, I'm gonna pursue it because I'm just OCD like that.
Nice.
But I mean, I like it so far. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I will definitely keep watching it. But I won't watch TV, so I'll watch it online.
Very nice. All right.
cool.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for this Shredded Cels special segment.
Alex, thank you
Eric?
for having me. Thank you very much. I know I'm not an anime guy, so anytime you guys, if you want to talk about it, like the series, season finale, whatever, I'll be back on again. We can do a season recap
Definitely.
or something.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See ya.
And we're back. So,
Hi, I gotta go.
oh,
My
you gotta
battery's
go.
about dead.
Okay. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
joining us, Keith.
Bye, Keith.
Thanks for having me back. I missed it.
All right. We love you, Keith.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Yes.
All right.
Bye. There he goes. All right. We lost the hurricane noise.
We apologize for the wind
Yeah.
sound.
He. For those who don't know, he had to go outside to get better Wi-Fi, or else he was really like choppy and stuff like that. So it was sort of an unavoidable thing. So we're going to be talking about Sword for Truth here. A really bad movie. Was it from the 80s?
I almost want to say it was earlier than the 80s.
Oh, I want to say, you guys keep talking. We're gonna research this junk.
Now,
Now-
Mark, you have an interesting tirade about this, about how it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's originally we were going to call it just a bad movie, but the thing though is that calling it a bad movie isn't fair because yes, it's a bad movie, but there's some bad movies where you just wouldn't wish it upon anyone to watch. You just go to your friend and you say, "Hey, never see this movie." That's not what this is. This is a movie that's so bad it's good if you're watching it with your friends. Because if you're watching it with friends, it's bad that you can laugh at it. Some of the animation is silly. The things that happen are silly.
Tsukaki-san.
Yeah.
No, it's
Oh my God,
Sirkaki-san.
Tsukaki-san.
Yeah, that was the one thing I had written down about it.
I quoted that throughout the whole movie. Whenever someone said that, I was just like, Tsukaki-san. And the voice acting is bad.
Terrible.
The plot is bad. Like there are really interesting plot developments that could
like the lesbian
no,
sex scene.
no, like
Which
okay,
bring about the lesbian
hold on.
ninjas.
Hold on. The guy who fought with karate, that was interesting. The guy who was essentially invincible and like the whole sword for truth or whatever.
There was no sword for truth.
Like
Or it was in the first half of the movie
no.
that it just disappeared.
No, there was. Yeah, the sword that they were supposed to deliver.
But it was there was nothing about truth with that sword.
Oh,
It just happened to
okay,
exist.
whatever. The sword. Those were interesting plot plot parts.
that's a stretch.
No, the reason like it was interesting, but the reason why it wasn't interesting is because they didn't go into it at all and they just ignored it. They completely it's called Sword for Truth, and the sword is in the first 20 minutes of the movie and it's just ignored. That's it.
It has really very little plot significance at all, and that was my biggest problem. Like, I agree with you. I think it's a movie that's so bad it's good. I think because it is fun to watch. Like if you've got a group of friends around you sitting on the couch ready to watch a bad movie, and have fun doing it, it's great for that. I thought that it seems like they had all these different ideas and just threw them together and then didn't go anywhere with them. All these things happen. There's the whole thing where he goes and saves the girl, and then he fights all these random people in the river and stuff. And then there's the weird thing with the demon at the end, and there's the stuff with the karate guy fighting people, but none of it goes anywhere.
Oh, by the way, if anyone was wondering, I did keep a sex scene count. I believe the correct answer was 6.
Really?
No, I thought it was 3. For
No, for him, it was 3, but overall there was, I want to say 6.
oh
Great.
boy.
I don't know. It just feels like it was unfinished. They got halfway through doing the movie and were like, okay, we ran out of budget. Let's stop.
And that's why I'm saying that some of the ideas were interesting. They just didn't go
Incomplete.
anything with it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I'm going to say this right now. Now, the movie is very entertaining. Do you want to know? It is really sad, though, what the most boring parts of the movie are. Anytime Sirkaki-san gets in a fight, I'm bored witless. Because it's there's no tension in these fights. The worst one by far, though, is when he fights that fire ghost thing. It's what?
I still was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious how during that last. Sorry, I keep coming back to the lesbian sex scene, but they go opium is a drug that blah 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 that makes people obey you and they make you part of your master. It's really you just give the whole definition of opium. It's like, oh,
Yeah, we got an exposition dump during a lesbian sex scene. Go figure.
There are some characters who
This show is educational.
going back to the fights with like Sakaki-san. How do you actually say his name? By the way,
It's Sakaki.
Sakaki.
okay. Sakaki-san.
Sakaki.
Like when he gets into fights, there are some anime characters that are interesting, like when they get in a fight and they're just like bored with the fight because of like how powerful they are and stuff. But like the thing though is that that's interesting if it's like for one fight. Like they know this person's really weak, but like maybe there's another fight where they come across someone who's more powerful than them and they actually have to try. No, Sakaki-san just. He's never worried. He's never concerned. There's never like a doubt in his mind that he's gonna lose.
Because he can't.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
He is
Plot armor?
Yeah, He has plot armor to the max, and he's also a Mary Sue. Not a Gary Stu. He's a Mary Sue.
Yeah. Well, what I thought was interesting about that is like you bring that up, and yeah, like that's how those things work. Like oftentimes at the beginning of a movie, like in Ninja Scroll, which we're going to be talking about next, there's a moment where it's the hero looking BA, doing something awesome, and they look like they're untouchable and unstoppable, and then you get into the when they fight the tougher enemies and they actually struggle a bit. Whereas, like you said in this fight, like he never gets like scratched like at all. No one touches him. It's just kind of ridiculous.
He's completely unbeatable, and that's what bothers me.
I know not everyone's a One Piece fan, but this immediately comes to mind. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you remember the Zoro's fight on Fishman Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, that like people who know what I'm talking about, that fight is like what I'm talking about with like people getting bored. Like that works. But if it's for every single fight that someone comes across, then they just come across as a Gary Stu or Mary Sue where they're just super powerful and no one can touch them.
You know what? I might even make an exception for that if like the animation was crazy and this guy's doing these backflips and crazy like sword moves all the time and he's doing like crazy stuff and it makes sense why he's not getting touched or whatever. But in this, he just like
walks.
Some people go up and do like a sword stab and they miss, and get killed or whatever. But when he does it, like it's unstoppable and no one can do anything.
I think the other thing is though too. I think what really bored me during the fight scenes, you can pretty much count on one hand the number of frames of animation half the time.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Very choppy. Not. I mean, it's a terrible work in general, but it's fun to laugh at just because it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, and then the end, the tiger was the what is this?
Oh yeah, it starts going.
What
it
is
goes
this?
To this Zodiac. It's like they killed the tiger in the beginning of the film, but there's 3 more animals.
Oh yeah, that jeez.
It's like.
What is this? What is going on? What is he? Oh my God! What are those women doing to him? He doesn't have any skin. And
it is just laughable with the sex scenes. Like literally, he just meets this person for the first time. It's like, let's have sex, okay?
Or like the.
I just tried to rob you. Let's have sex.
Or what about the? Like when I'm gonna pickpocket you, it's like, no, you aren't. And then
he
it's just
slices
like,
her clothes off.
And she's just like, oh.
And the funny is, it doesn't even show the people around them reacting.
Nope.
And they just go about their day, and I'm like, okay, really, no one's going to react to
These
that.
are the most jaded people I have ever seen.
Or even the evil guy who's like, your girl ninjas?
You couldn't tell.
All right, this is something that we have to talk about. The invincible guy. Okay, not only does he get stabbed like in the chest, in the heart, through the throat, and then he says like, don't you know why they call me the Invincible? And then he just breaks them off, and like the one in his throat just kind of like slides out, and he's fine. He heals.
No, it doesn't slide out. It breaks down the center.
Oh, it breaks? Okay, it breaks, even better. And someone says like he must be a demon. Okay, you know what? I would almost accept that. One, though, there was never really like demons established before that, so okay, But that didn't really bother me. What bothered me / made me laugh was when he started killing people and then he started wearing them. He started wearing
all the girls.
So like he killed a girl, then like slung her over his shoulder. I'm like, okay, I don't know why he's doing that, but whatever. And then he kills another person and slings them over the other shoulder. I'm like, okay.
And then the next scene, it's like there's this whole robe on.
He has a robe made of people on him. And I'm like, What are you doing?
And when he
Oh my
runs, he
gosh.
looks like a combination of the Incredible Hulk and a gorilla.
It was terrifying and it was hilarious.
Yeah, see, like that right there, that's one of those ideas that might have actually worked, had they developed it more. Like this guy who's invincible and has like the gross skin, like morphing thing. Like that might have been cool, except they completely failed the execution.
Oh yeah, now let's talk about the what was it, a karate or jujitsu assassin? I can't remember which, because
Yeah.
they
I don't
kind
know.
of like changed gears on what it was halfway through.
That guy was really cool and he could have
'cause
been
he-
an interesting character. But
because he wasn't invincible.
Well,
Oh my God, he's bleeding. When has that happened and someone hasn't died?
wait, he's panting? Wait, he's tired? What?
yeah, well, and I love how in the middle of the movie it cuts this fight between these two guys we don't know about, the karate dude and some sword dude. Karate guy beats him. Then we cut back to Suzaki-san, and go through all that, and then he meets him
At the very end of the
very
movie.
end, and he's like, "You're strong," and they make some cliche dialogue, and then the movie ends.
Yep.
It's like,
Oh yeah, I remember.
What was
yeah,
the point?
Yeah, it was the two random people. I forgot about them. They're just
Why-
the two random people, and they just like, I'm gonna
No,
fight you. And
I didn't forget because I was like, wow, that guy was kind of cool. I wonder what his role in the movie is going to be.
Nothing.
Oh, wait, nothing. Why
Exactly.
focus on him when you're just not, this movie just overall was a failure. It was a funny failure, but what the hell? Like,
Now, another scene I'd like to point out. Does anyone remember when Sukaki-san gets paid?
oh yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
what? We have to protect the princess's honor, so we have to kill you and myself. What? Where did this come from?
I know.
Oh.
Where did this come
And then
from?
isn't it when the girl like faints or something, like then they're like, oh yeah, we're not gonna fight anymore.
it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, just forget about it.
Here, the reason why that doesn't make any sense, because at first I was like, wow, some actual, I don't want to say plot, some actual background, because they were like, yeah, you can't see when you see the girl, we have to kill you. It's like part of the.
But he would win
it's
against all of
part
them, even though.
hold on, yeah, it's part of the background, and I was like, if you had established that earlier, that would have been better. But it's still interesting. I like this, and then the girl comes in. She's like, "Don't do it, please," and he's like, "It's for your own good. We have to do this." And then she faints, and then they take her away, and then he's like, "Yeah, never mind. We won't kill you. You just said it was for her own good." And then you decide to not do it anymore when she leaves. Like
And all
that
those
goes
musket men-
against exactly what you just said.
And the musket men, they were ready to fire. He's surrounded by musket men. They're like, we're gonna get ready to shoot you. And it's like, oh no, never mind, back.
Yeah.
And then the doors just closed and nothing happened.
Yeah. All right. We don't have much time left, so let's transition here real quick into Ninja Scroll.
awesome?
It was a great movie.
Awesome.
It was okay for me. It wasn't. It's not my cup of tea.
Shut up, heretic. No one cares what you have to say.
No, I don't know. I enjoyed the movie. It's a good movie. Definitely go watch it. Great ultra violent 80s action movie.
It's not 80s.
The problem I had with it, it's not 80s. Is it 90s?
It's 90s. The Sword for Truth was 1990. So
Was it really?
1990.
Oh,
Still
God.
that bad. There you go. But the thing I had, like, the main character Jubei is not a Mary Sue like our friend what is it? Sakaki-san. But he is similar in that, like, he has all these fights and he bleeds and he gets hurt and stuff, but none of it really damages him. Like, he gets right back up and keeps going, and nothing phases him. Even in the final battle, when he gets the crap beat out of him by the main bad by Genma or whatever, and then he gets right back up and like headbutts him and fights him off, and it's like his injuries are nothing.
Don't tell me that you didn't love that scene. He defeats Genma by using the pure power of 80s rock music. Dung, dung.
No, you're right. It's awesome and it's fun to watch, but it's sort of like my comparison would be like with Bleach or Ichigo and Bleach. Like, he can get stabbed and bleed like gallons of blood, and yet he'll still get up and fight.
Here's the difference, though. Bleach is, Ichigo is very, very getting close to becoming a Mary Sue because he's ridiculously super powered compared to everyone else. Here's the difference, though. If you've noticed, pretty much every single fight that Jubei had, he didn't win by himself. He had to get help. And pretty much, and every fight. Think about it. He didn't do it by himself. He had to get help. There was only one fight, I believe. Yeah, there was only one fight that he wasn't getting direct assistance from someone.
Well, the Genma fight he didn't.
Excuse me. There was two fights. There was the Genma fight, and there was the fight against the Shadow guy. Shadow Guy was kind
Shadow
of
Guy
Yeah.
was cool. I wish if I had to pick a fight that I really enjoy, like it's like, oh, this looks really stylized. I'm gonna like this, and then it's just like I'm gonna throw a sword to the where the chain is, and then dead.
But think about it, aside from those two fights, though, Jubei has to get help in every single fight
Yeah.
because he's not invincible. He's not unstoppable.
And another thing that was very different from Sword for Truth is that there were a lot of different parts of the plot, and they were all really well explained.
And it was organized. You had Grandpa Guy who plotted something, and
he's a mobile brown turd.
yep.
Yeah. Well, he was an exposition device because basically how it would go a lot of the times was, there'd be a fight and then the old man would show up and give some exposition and then he'd go away and there'd be a fight and then it'd come back for more exposition. But it works, it's cliche sort of, not the best, like most elegant storytelling certainly, but it works. Like I thought that they did a good job of explaining like who these 8 demons are or whatever, and giving them all personality and sort of showing the power struggle sort of within their organization. I thought they did a good job of that.
If I had to say my favorite thing just about the movie in general was the personality of the main character, because you can tell in the beginning, Jubei does not want anything to do with
Any of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's offered to go on this really epic quest, and he just says, no, I
Nope.
don't want to. And the only reason why he decides to go is because he gets poisoned and forced to go.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing that bothered me was that, the one girl who like had to cure his poison, or
I
whatever.
actually liked that though. It actually gave the whole like, we can't be together, but I can help you, and I don't know. It was interesting because she was the cure at the same time.
Yeah, I get that, but it was the scene where she's like, "Oh, you have to have sex with me, so that the poison can be healed from you." But then later on, she kisses him, and
that does the
that
trick.
does
Wouldn't
the
it make
trick.
but wouldn't it make sense though that the old man lied about that?
Yeah.
Because the old man was pretty obviously a pervert, just like every old man is in anime.
And he was
Pretty much.
and he was pretty messed up too. Like, I
Yeah.
almost thought he was a demon.
Hey, Jubei was a man. He didn't hurt
I,
the girl.
I was hoping that
Jubei was awesome.
I was hoping,
Dynamite.
I was hoping the old man would die at the end. Honestly,
I knew he wasn't going to because the creepy brown old man in any anime never dies. You think I'm wrong? I can't think about every anime you ever seen. Think about the creepy old man.
no. One of Piccolo's people, that old guy in Dragon Ball Z,
Oh,
he
the
dies.
elder
Was he
Namek.
was he tiny though?
No, he was huge.
See, no.
Okay. Okay.
Or what? Okay, one other thing to talk about in the film was the lava in the boat.
That it wasn't lava. That was
it
it was
the
molten
melting gold.
See that bothered me for a different reason. The melting point of gold isn't very high, but it's certainly a lot higher than you can get with a burning boat.
I did.
Yeah.
Remember, I said that. I'm like, but this is like a campfire. I'm so confused.
Do you know what my response was at that point though? It's pretty much the coolest ending they could come up with,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with that.
Sort of the rule of cool thing.
It was cool. So yeah.
Yeah, so definitely my overall opinions, not the greatest plot or story. Characters are good though, and it's got great action, and it's just fun.
And the animation is beautiful.
And the animation is beautiful.
I will
agree.
admit that.
This is a movie that you can see, and you don't have to be with friends, but it's good to see it with friends.
And it's
'cause then
entertaining.
Because then you can all laugh at just how ridiculous some of the action is. It's great.
but it's good ridiculous, not stupid ridiculous.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. All right. So now we're going to talk real quick about what we're going to do for next episode, which in this case, that's lovely. Which in this case is going to be Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, correct? Because we're doing that over the course of the summer. Is everyone still okay with that idea? We've talked about it before, but I
I'm
think
not
it should
totally
work.
sure if I'm going to be able to force myself to get through the first Full Metal Alchemist again. I don't hate it.
I'm like you.
I don't hate it, but it's kind of like
How about this? I could easily watch all of Brotherhood again, no problem. But watching the first one again, I mean, I'm gonna try, but man, I mean, just watching Brotherhood and then going back to the first one, it's pretty hard.
think it
It's
is?
difficult.
I don't know. I'm a fan of the original, so
The original. Wait, have you seen Brotherhood?
no, I've not seen it all the way through. That's actually to
watch it all the
that's
way
my
through, and you're going to understand what
Here's
we mean.
here's the thing.
So all three of you have seen Brotherhood?
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Man.
is phenomenal. Like, see, the first half or the first like fourth or half will be kind of boring because you haven't like seen much of it, but like or because you've already seen it in the original. But the rest of it is so good.
It follows the manga really closely from what I've heard.
Yep.
So we're gonna try to watch both, or
No, yeah, well, it's a sort of a thing where, like, I've seen Brotherhood, I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, so I'm going to watch the original TV show, and I already know about Brotherhood, so I don't feel like I need to rewatch it. So watch the one you haven't seen before, you know, and the movie, The Conqueror of Shambhala, I'm going to make that optional. You know, if you want to watch it, fine.
No, that you have to have that.
No, but both the shows are on Hulu and YouTube, and they're available. The movie is not, so that's going to be an optional thing. So, yes, thank you very much for listening to us today, listeners. You can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. Follow us on Twitter at techheadsou. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on iTunes. We'll be back in the fall once we get back from school, you know, on school in the fall. It's going to be awesome. Full Metal Alchemist podcast. And so thank you very much for joining me, Matt, Jeremy, and Mark.
Thank
and
you
again,
very much.
the opening and ending theme song for this special episode is by Richie Branson, and you can go to his website at richiebranson.com and listen to some of his other music.
All right. Thank you very much. The building closes in
10 minutes.
14 minutes.
Thank
Yep.
you very much for listening to this episode of Shredded Cels, episode 9. We will see you in the fall.
Bye.
And maybe see Spike Spiegel chasing hooligans. Mix some of the classics with the new shows. And I promise we'll never touch the remote control. I never forget when time told us all to stay gold till the next episode. Toonami's back.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2020.